Simeon here, back with another Motivational Monday video, and I am here with Oasis Custom Concrete Design founder and concrete artisan, Jason Gillis. Jason, thank you for joining me.
Thanks, Simeon. Glad to be here, bro. This is a good thing. Motivational Mondays. I applaud you. I'm ready.
Thank you. So starting out, we want to get some career information. So basically, I get the perspectives of as many different career professions as possible, just in case there's somebody out there that wants to get into that specific thing. So starting out, I just wanted to get information on kind of how you started and how you were able to scale your business and become, self-employed in your specific craft. So yeah, if you could give some information about that.
Yeah, man. I started off in concrete about 30 years ago. I used to pour floors, flat work, and I got into the union. And I was in the union for 17 years. And if it rained, I didn't work. And sometimes you didn't know that you weren't working until the morning. And you wake up at 4 a.m. and you get ready and you get the phone call and work's been canceled. So there's really no time to find work for that day. So you lose that day. So living like that for so long, I tell people can't really go on vacations because if if I plan a week off and I go away somewhere, it'll be beautiful here, right? So I'm not working and I'll go away. And then when I come back, it might rain for a week or two. So then you don't work for a couple weeks. So it was really financially, it was scary. So, a lot of other crafts and a lot of other trades in the industry work 5 days a week. They're indoors, electricians and plumbers and things like that. We do a lot of outside stuff in concrete. So it was weather permitted. So I decided that I love the medium of concrete, and I just looked for something different. And I thought about countertops, and I thought about curb machines and things that could keep me in the same game, but let me be in control of the industry itself. So I got into this thinking it was a hobby. I didn't want to tell myself I was going to take it to the moon, where you are now. So I just I told myself, hey, let me make an investment on myself, and I did. Didn't have a lot of money saved up. I found this course in North Carolina. I went and took a 2 day smash mouth course. Cost me about $1,000, 1,700 altogether with a flight. And went down to North Carolina, rented a car. Didn't even didn't even get a hotel room the first night. I slept in the trunk of the car at a truck stop because money's tight, and I didn't know where it was going to bring me. But ultimately, I took a chance, right? So that's what everybody that I've noticed in the world is afraid to do. They're afraid of change. Everybody's comfortable. They want that 9 to 5. They want that paycheck, and you want to live paycheck to paycheck because they're comfortable. I'm tired of that. I looked in the mirror one day and I was like, wow, same guy, 17 years later, just gray hair, bald head. I went nowhere. Still renting an apartment. With that said, I started this new venture, and I was blown away when I started to learn. When I was in the class, I was like, "What am I doing here?" It was mind blowing. It was nothing I've ever seen before. Just because I was in concrete, it wasn't even relative. It was inside out. It was upside down, mold making, and everything is negative, so I can make a positive. And it sparked my brain to a point where when you feed your brain information, you have no control over what your brain does with it. Not sleeping, dreaming about concrete trucks chasing me, things like that. It's just you can't get away from it. Lo and behold, I started to practice this craft while I was still working in the trades. So I would work by day and I would come home and I bought a carport and in my driveway, and I started to do this thing that I learned for 2 days in North Carolina at the Concrete Countertop Institute. And it's far more than countertops. It's fireplaces and fire pits and wall panels and anything you could shape this concrete to be. Showers and you name it, benches, furniture, seats, everything. I started my trials and tribulations, and it was my investment for myself. And ultimately, winter came. I had a job from Facebook. I got a kitchen, and I was doing this kitchen. And if I had to do it again, man, I wouldn't have done it the way that I did it then. But if you're going to learn how to use a sander, you should learn how to use sandpaper by hand. If you're going to learn how to use a table saw, you should learn how to use a hand saw. Like, and understand what these tools are going to do, right?
Right.
So the power tools in the industry speed up the process and let you hone in on your craft. But to be able to do things by hand and understand what it's doing, if you've never used a saw before, and I tell you to cut a piece of wood with a skill saw, you might cut your fingers off. You don't understand what it's going to do. I worked in this carport for 8 months, and when the snow came, still had a little bit of money, and I found a cheap shop. And I said, I got to rent the shop. So now I'm adding rental property, I'm spending more money, I'm committing to another lease. And it was just more of a commitment on the change because the minute you quit because you're afraid, it's over. In moving to this building, I was renting from a cabinet maker, and it seemed fitting for me. He was blown away a little bit by what I did, and also other people in the building were a reclaimed wood furniture maker, a furniture repair guy. So there was just an eclectic group of network people that I could meet. So I did, and I went and met this guy Adam. He does phenomenal work, high end. He does work for Tom Brady and Jonathan Kraft, all these high end clients. And he's salt of the earth guy, really great guy. So I had met him and explained to him what I was doing. You know, they'll no see him. He then went to Wellesley. He was working on a big job for this guy Pete, and at his own house, at his personal house. And he told Pete, he said, "Hey, this guy just moved into the shop. He's a concrete artisan." And it blew Pete's mind. And Pete said, "I have to meet him." So then Adam, when he came back, he said, "Hey, I want to introduce you to this guy, Pete. He wants you to do some work for him. He's blown away. I told him you're a concrete artisan." And I was like, "Whoa, like I'm just starting this, man. It's a hobby at the moment. I don't even really know what I'm doing."
Right.
So again, I met Pete. Pete gave me work. I explained the same thing to him. I said, "Hey, man, I'm just really starting out. I don't want to let you down." And he said, "No, I have faith in you. Um, I want you to do a bathroom sink for me, and I want you to do a bunch of bathroom sinks for me. I'm gonna give you a check today." I said, "I don't even know how to price this stuff, Pete." He was like my first real client. He was the first one that saw a vision. He's a philanthropist. He's a builder, a developer, family man, very successful. All in all, he actually started recycling in America. And we get into that a whole nother time. You and I should tell you the story about that. But really, what it is he and I are still in close contact. I have work to do for him again. He just recently called. But what happened was he told me to remember him. He said, "Remember me." And I was like, "What do you mean?" And he said, "Well, you're going to blow up and you don't know what's going to happen in the next 5 years, how many other artisans are going to come into the industry. So I want you to set the bar." And in this area that we are in Wellesley, Massachusetts, very wealthy area, even in America, it's like the top 40th most wealthy town in America. He said, "You give me my price, you have your price that you give to people. But in this area, I want you to raise your price 50%." And I was like, "Whoa, like if I'm going to send out an estimate for like $8,000, I already don't know if I want to hit send." But Pete said to make it 12,000. So I'm like, "All right, I got to listen to these people. You have to listen to people that want you to grow, that support you, these mentors." So I did. And, I changed the price. And I'm like, "Oh, man, I don't know if I'm going to get this job." And I send it. Next thing you know, the client is like, "Do you want half down now? Like, can I send you a check?" And I was like, "Wow, Pete's right." So from there on, since then, almost 10 years ago now, I call him my messiah. He was like, I look up to this guy. I have nothing but the utmost respect for him. He basically set me on my path. Below him was Adam, and I still work with Adam. Again, salt of the earth, great person. He will stop working to talk to you. You know, Surrounding yourself with these people is how you get there. You don't want to reach down. If you're reaching down, you're helping people, that's fine, but it's not going to get you anywhere. It might help them get somewhere. You bring them up with you, but ultimately, we want to go up. So reaching out to people beside us, our equals, our friends that we hang out with, unless they're very like-minded and they're doing their own thing and you guys are networking and collaborating, it's really not going to get people anywhere. This is a majority of the world, you know. So when you hear about one percenters and three percenters, those are the people that are, they're putting their goals first. You know, they're surrounding themselves with people even above them in their industry that they feel is someone they can look up to, someone that can help you. But you have to not be afraid to ask these people. You know, you see videos of these YouTubers that stop guys in Bugattis and Ferraris, and they're like, "Hey, can I just ask you what you do for a living?" That's a great question, because some of these people, most of these people, they tell them. They might not get deep into it, but they say, "Hey, I'm a developer," or "I'm an investor," or "I'm a YouTuber." There's a lot of new money out there. I just ran with it, and Pete really set me up with a lot of good information. And then you'll get a lot of bad information. You have to filter out. Like people say, "Oh man, make 1,000 brochures and business cards and give them to me, and I'll hand them out all over the street." I don't want to litter the street with my money. I didn't do that. It's like people that want to give you advice but don't take their own advice. So you got to just kind of filter those people out, and not to be rude, but just say, "Hey, that's a great idea, and you got to figure it out." And then these other people that I started to meet through Pete in Wellesley, people would call me, or Pete would call me, and he'd say, "Hey, I got this guy. He's going to call you. I told him all about you, and he wants a sink. And I told this other guy about you who has a showroom, and he wants you to put a sink in a showroom." And I was like, "Wow, this guy's going to bat for me." So I really need to hone in my craft. And year after year after year, that's what I've done. And it doesn't come easy. It doesn't come without risk. It doesn't come without failure. The failure is, you have to fail in life to learn. I don't believe that we win or lose. I believe we win or we learn. So taking the L, it's for learning. Okay, it's a learning curve in my mind. So the moment you lose is the day you quit, and the day you quit, it's over, and then you failed. You want to fail, and you want to overcome that failure, right? It's, you take on a challenge, and you want to. I love to be challenged. I don't want anything to come easy. Nothing easy is worth doing. So I mean, and that's where I am now. I'm 10 years in. I'm considered, from other people. Again, I told you the other day, like, I'm not self-proclaiming to be. I'm telling you what people have told me in the ears of other people. I've been um, I've been introduced as a world-renowned artisan, and that blows my mind, because I'm really just a guy. I'm a tradesman. I'm a concrete guy, but I do understand that I do make beautiful stuff, and people tell me that, and they love it, and I don't want to lose my passion, because people have so much enthusiasm when they see what I do, and that's what I live for. I really live for the final product, the satisfaction of the client, the smile, the happiness. I don't want to put something in somebody's house and be some jerk that every time they look at it, they're like, "That guy was a jerk. I wish I didn't ever buy that." Like, my finished product is their satisfaction. I want them to be happy, and that's where I live. That's what I live by, and that's what's really grown me. And word of mouth has been huge for me. Very minimal marketing, and even those chances I took to join a marketing company have paid off. But they're always investments. You got to invest in yourself, and that's what you're doing, Simeon. This is an investment. You're putting time in. This is quality time, and it's gonna work. It's gonna work. I'm gonna talk about it. I'm gonna get more people on here for you, and that's how the network continues to grow.
Thank you, man. I really appreciate that.